All right, welcome back everyone to Nadlin Forum Podcast Daily. I'm Ruby, here with Leah, and today we're diving into a real It Can Happen to Anyone property story, Loan 1380, featuring a bloke named Grant. This one's a bit of a cautionary tale for all you investors out there.
Yeah, this kind of thing, honestly, it happens more than people think. Grant was trying to refinance his property using a DSCR auction loan through Nadlin Capital Group, right? He starts off saying the property's in C4 condition. So that's like average. Everything's working. Reasonably well kept. No big red flags. The lenders look at the file, don't see any issues, and boom, process moves ahead fast.
Yeah, smooth sailing for about 5 minutes until, you get to the appraisal. They send in a licensed appraiser, the whole deal, and suddenly flooding damage. No one mentioned that bit, which drops the property below C4 status and basically makes it ineligible for the loan Grant wanted. That's a massive wrench in the works.
And you gotta remember, lenders, they gotta trust what's disclosed up front. If you miss something big, the deal can just stop. It's not just about paperwork, it's real money, real risk. I think the big thing here is Grant wasn't trying to pull a fast one. He probably just didn't know or didn't think it was as serious as it was. But the second that undisclosed damage comes up, the whole process is at risk.
Oh, and that totally reminds me. My mate back home almost bought this sweet little house, looked perfect from the outside, but under the kitchen, there was this wild mold situation from an old water leak. She was about to sign the papers. It just shows these surprises aren't rare. I reckon heaps of investors walk into places thinking everything looks fine until a pro actually checks.
Absolutely. That's why appraisals are key. They aren't just a checkbox for the lender, they're protection for everyone. Uncovering stuff even a seasoned investor might miss. But once something like flooding is found and you didn't tell the lender at the start, you could lose money and the deal. It's tough. It's embarrassing sometimes, but it happens. And here for Grant, it meant a straight up halt. And as we're about to get into, no small financial slap either.
Right, let's talk about the money side, because this is where people can really get caught out, especially if it's their first rodeo. So Grant paid 2 key things, an escrow deposit and an appraisal fee. Those are standard for getting the ball rolling. But the kicker is, neither one is refundable in this situation, and that can really sting if you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, and let's break down why. The escrow deposit, that's what keeps the auction running, pays for all the behind-the-scenes work, the lender outreach, everything. The only way you get that back is either 1, your loan actually closes, then it gets reversed, or 2, if the lender decides to jack up your rate by 0.25% or more after appraisal, they'll give it back. But if the problem is with your property, like undisclosed flooding, sorry, no refund.
And the appraisal fee, that's a funny one because it's not even the lender's cash, right? It's paid straight to the third-party appraiser. And once they've done the job, written the report, that's it. Money's gone. No takebacks because the service was already provided. I get why borrowers assume, oh, I didn't get the loan, give me my money back. But the appraisers done the mileage and spotted the flooding.
I had this client in New York actually. Really sharp guy, good with numbers, thought he knew his way around the contract. He assumed escrow was basically a deposit just for holding a spot and didn't realize those funds cover actual work and time. He was furious when he couldn't get it back after the deal fizzled. It always comes down to reading that fine print, really reading it. So many people just click through or sign without digging in.
Honestly, the industry standard is mostly non-refundable on these fees. If the process gets started, the appraiser headed out, auction launched, it's spent, the money's gone. Exceptions are rare and really hinge on things like the lender changing the terms after everyone thought the deal was locked in. Otherwise, Borrowers are pretty much out of pocket if anything comes up that kills the deal.
Exactly. So, best case for Grant would have been if the lender had hiked up the rate post-appraisal. That's like the one scenario for a refund. But that didn't happen here. The lesson is you gotta know what you're committing to with these fees. Because unless something unusual happens, those funds aren't coming back.
So, what's Grant and every other investor supposed to do differently next time? Honestly, the starting point is just brutal honesty about the property up front. If there's even a tiny doubt, like has there ever been a bit of water pooling or a leak that didn't get fixed right the first time, just put it on the table when you're applying. It's way better to be upfront than to get caught with surprises.
Yeah, and that means clear, detailed communication, not just with the lender, but with the appraiser too. Everyone needs the same info at the start. The more transparent you are from the first intake, the less likely you'll get hit with these mid-process disasters. And if there's an issue, it's actually easier to deal with it early than to scramble after everything stops, trying to salvage what you can.
One big tip, get your own independent inspection before you even apply for the loan. I mean, spend a few $100, have someone crawl through the attic, check the slab, poke around outside, even before the lender sends their own appraiser. That way, if there's bad news, you find out on your own terms, can fix it, and avoid losing money in the process.
Grant's story, it's all about prevention. That's the main takeaway. Double check what you're submitting, have those hard conversations. Don't try to, oversell the property. In real estate, like the details that you skip always come back at the worst possible time. And this isn't just about experienced investors. Even the pros get caught if they don't do their homework.
Totally agree. And we actually had a similar theme in last week's episode, talking about how early screening and really clear communication can stop deals from getting derailed. See, it all loops back. If you want to avoid what happened to Grant, transparency and basically double checking everything before you sign anything, that's how you do it.
Love that. So, lesson for everyone. Be extra careful at intake, ask all the tough questions, and don't be afraid to slow down. Sometimes rushing costs more than waiting. All right, Ruby, let's wrap. It's been a good one, yeah?
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks everyone for sticking with us on Nadlin Forum Podcast Daily. If you've got questions, stories like Grant's, or just want to vent about your last real estate snag, send them in. Liar, catch you next time.
Thanks, Ruby. Thanks, everyone. Until next time, stay sharp and don't skip the inspection. Bye.